Today we will be looking at accessible technology, a closer look at VoiceOver on a Mac. So first let's start with what is VoiceOver. VoiceOver is a type of screen reader, and screen readers are software programs that read information that's presented on a computer screen. VoiceOver and screen readers in general will be used by students with visual impairments because the information can be presented orally or via a refreshable braille display. VoiceOver is specifically manufactured by Apple. It's on their Apple devices. And Narrator is the equivalent if you were using a Windows computer. It is available for free on all Apple devices. This includes Mac laptops and desktops, iPhones, iPads. And prior to VoiceOver, there was text-to-speech devices. So the difference between VoiceOver and text-to-speech devices is that VoiceOver can read everything that's presented on the computer screen. So now let's look on how to turn VoiceOver on. This is going to be the steps specific for Mac users. So first, users would select the apple in the top left corner of the screen. They would then choose System Preferences in the drop-down menu that appears. In the window that appears, they would choose Accessibility, and then they would click VoiceOver. They would then click Enable VoiceOver to start using it. To use VoiceOver on devices such as iPhones or iPads, users only have to go to Settings, and then under General Settings, the Accessibility and VoiceOver is right there. VoiceOver is going to be used by students and people with visual impairments. The age of students can be difficult to navigate because accessible technology is something that's dependent on the student. When I was trying to learn how to use VoiceOver, some of the key commands were a little confusing. So this would be best by student basis because if a student is very tech savvy, they may be able to use this at a younger age than someone who is not as tech savvy. To use VoiceOver, you use the keyboard to navigate the screen. Use different keystrokes to scroll throughout the screen and select different objects. On touchscreen devices, it's a similar system. However, instead of using a keyboard, you simply touch the screen and the VoiceOver will tell you what you have selected. The VoiceOver describes what's selected, whether you're using the keyboard or you're using a touchscreen device. And it's the eye of the user. The VoiceOver is used for students with visual impairments, specifically because it describes every single thing that's on the screen so that students can see what is on the screen without actually using their eyes. An evaluation of the VoiceOver, the pros, it can read everything on the screen. As described earlier, the text-to-speech device could not. So specifically things like menus on a web page, a text-to-speech device could not read those while VoiceOver can. It is clear what is selected. The VoiceOver is very good in reading every single thing that's on the screen, like I've said before, and it also reads exactly what is selected. Another pro is that it can connect to a Braille output device. Before, a screen reader was described as a device that can give this information to a student orally or through a refreshable Braille display. So VoiceOver can connect to something like a refreshable Braille display. The cons, there was only one, and that was that the use of the buttons was a little confusing, especially for someone who's just learning it. And also the use of the buttons, there were a lot of buttons that had to be pressed at once. And so for a student or a person who does not have someone who does not have fine motor skills will not be able to click all of the buttons that is needed to use VoiceOver. So to include VoiceOver in the curriculum, it is best to be used when students are using the computers. As described before, VoiceOver is a voice that explains what is on the computer screen. So this can only be used when students are using computers. The teacher should allow students to use headphones and any other additional tools needed, such as maybe a refreshable braille display, so that the student can hear what's on the screen without disturbing any of the other students, and also read anything he or she needs to through the refreshable braille display. Some examples: this could be used when students are completing research for a paper. If a student needs to go onto Google and find a paper, they could easily use VoiceOver to navigate through the screen and through the text to find a paper that was suitable for whatever research they are doing. Also, it could be used to navigate to online videos, such as Khan Academy. A lot of my students use Khan Academy to help them with the curriculum. And so a student who has a visual impairment could easily use the VoiceOver to navigate to Khan Academy so that they are able to watch those videos. So now I'm going to stop my presentation and I am going to show you how to enable and use VoiceOver. So first I'm going to go to the apple in the top left corner and click System Preferences. I'm going to go to Accessibility and click VoiceOver. Now when I click Enable VoiceOver, a window is going to pop up. And it's going to start speaking because I've enabled the VoiceOver. So I'm going to click it and let it go from there.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on the screen and can be used to control the computer using only your keyboard. If you already know how to use VoiceOver, press the V key now. If you want to learn how to use VoiceOver, press the space bar now.
Now I've played around with learning how to use VoiceOver and going through the tutorial. It did get a little confusing, but it was also very helpful. So I'm actually going to skip the tutorial and go to show you how a student could get to Khan Academy was one of my examples. So I'm going to now navigate using the keyboard shortcuts through the screen so that you can see how VoiceOver would help a student who is visually impaired.
VoiceOver on, System Preferences, Accessibility, Window, Accessibility Features, Table, VoiceOver, VoiceOver Image. Selected has keyboard focus. Show accessibility status in Help button.
See, the only problem is that tutorial I did.
You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control, Option, Space.
Was helpful, but I don't remember how to get out of and go to a different window.
Chrome,
so let's cheat.
Google, Window, Search, combo box has keyboard focus.
So now I'm going to show you how a student would use VoiceOver.
You are currently on a combo box inside of a search. Type text, muting.
How a student would get to Khan Academy using VoiceOver.
K A K H N space A C A D E M Y.
So I search for Khan Academy.
You are currently on a combo box inside of a end of search. Navigation, all books, videos, all. Link, books, link, videos, link, news, link, images, more, pop-up, settings, pop tools, button, list one item. Safe search on, end of list, end of navigation, about 10, showing results for. Link, Khan Academy. Search instead for link, Khan Academy. Main 19 items, heading level 2. Heading level 3, visited, link, Khan Academy vertical line free online courses, lessons in practice.
Now I'm navigating through this a little bit faster just because I can see what's on the screen.
You are currently on a heading level 3 inside of a main. Muting.
I'm going to mute him for a minute so that I can speak. I am navigating through this quickly because I can see what's on the screen. But a student, for example, would be going through this slower so that he or she can see and hear, well, see in quotations, can hear what's on the screen and get an idea of what is going on.
Press internal link. Skip to main content. Subjects pop-up button. Link. Visited. Link. Search for subjects, skills, and videos. Press link. Search for subjects, skills, and videos. ALGEBRA. Space. Alt 1. 1. Algebra. Internal link. Skipped. Navigation 5. Subject link. Search. Visited. Link. Link. Don't. Link. Sub. End of navigation. Main content. Main 1 item. Algebra 1. Dimmed link. Algebra 1. Insert. Dimmed link. Algebra 1. Dimmed link. Algebra 1. Insertion at end of text. Search for subjects, skills, and videos. Edit text. Dimmed link. Algebra 1. Insertion. Dimmed link. Muting.
Okay, I'm not the best with this, so I don't know why it's scrolling down, but this would be exactly how a student would be used to use VoiceOver to get to something such as Khan Academy or any other videos. So overall, VoiceOver is used for students who have a visual impairment. It is good for students because they can navigate through entire screens and see exactly what's on the screen. It's not so good for students just because it is a little confusing. Now, I didn't spend hours on end, if I'm being honest, trying to figure out how to use this. So maybe a student who needs it and spends the time learning how to use it could figure out the keystrokes better than I have. But it's definitely helpful for students with visual impairments to see what's on a computer screen.